First at 5:30, an investigation is underway into the death of an inmate at Montana State Prison. The body of 53-year-old Danny Lee Hartford was found shortly around 8 o'clock last night in a cell of a housing unit in the high security portion of the prison. According to the Montana Department of Corrections, 2 inmates are possible suspects in the death. Hartford was sentenced to 30 years probation in 1997 on 2 counts of sexual assault in Lewis and Clark County. He violated conditions of his probation and a judge ordered him to prison in 2010. A criminal investigation continues regarding the details of his death. River Drive South is open again and trains are back on track after a train derailment yesterday afternoon. Our Tara Grimes spoke with Burlington Northern Santa Fe officials today to find out how crews cleaned up the mess.
Hello.
It was a scary sight for those who walked out of the Great Falls Police Department at 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. 12 rail cars less than 1,000 yards from the building derailed along the Burlington Northern Santa Fe line.
We had a train that originated at Denver. It was hauling general merchandise, and it was pulling into Great Falls, and it was performing routine switching before it would take off and go to its final destination of Spokane.
The train engine was pushing the 86 rail car line on the tracks behind the police department and across the bridge over the Missouri River when the dozen empty rail cars tipped. Malona says the cause for why the cars went off the track is still under investigation.
There was no structural damage to the bridge and minor track damage.
More than 30 crew members spent the night cleaning up the mess using equipment to pull the cars back up on the tracks.
We brought in dozers, cats, front-end loaders, and they set the 12 cars back on the track. They've been removed from the area now. They're being mechanically assessed in the yard at Great Falls.
Monday morning, workers made track repairs before opening the line back up at noon.
There is some grooming work, some landscape work on the side of the track that we're also going to perform today, but all in all, the line is open, and we're moving the 10 to 15 trains daily that pass through this line.
And although 3 vehicles were damaged after being hit by one of the cars, Malona says this is considered a minor accident, noting the most important thing is nothing was spilled and no one got hurt. In Great Falls, Tara Grimes from Montana's news station.
Malona says BNSF is investing $122 million on track improvements across the state this year, and currently most track work is being done on the High Line. It's Columbus Day, and we've discovered something we haven't seen much of, and that is rain. Matt Jones is filling in for Mike and is here to let us know how long this rain might stick around.
Well, those showers started very early this morning, have just continued through the entire day, and they've really done a number to our temperatures. Take a look right now. It's only 41 in Great Falls, 37 Cutbank, 37 Lewistown, and overnight as those temperatures start to cool off a little more, we could see a little bit of this rain start to mix with some snow, especially across the higher elevations. But coming up in a few minutes, I'll let you know when this rain comes to an end, and we'll talk about some much nicer and warmer weather ahead. That's all coming up in just a bit. Tim, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Well, as the November election nears, candidates, voters, and students are preparing for tonight's candidate forum. The news station's Jen Fenter checked in as the students made their final preparations today and joins us now live from the event. Jen?
That's right, Tim. As you can see behind me, a social hour is currently underway, but starting at 6, that's when the gubernatorial candidates, the local legislators, as well as the Office of Public Instruction candidates will take the stage and answer some educational-focused questions. The questions will be asked by students in our own district who spent the day anxiously preparing for tonight's event.
I've never done one of these before.
Taylor Court is one of 7 students who have dedicated the last several weeks to prepare for the candidate forum, and says she's excited for the opportunity.
There's 6 questions.
As I'm getting closer to the voting age, I've been more aware of different political things that have been happening around us, especially since this year is an election year.
School administration drafted the questions that the students will ask, and despite not formulating their own questions, they're still looking for specific topics to be addressed.
I hope we touch on union rights and privatization of education and charter schools. Those are big issues right now in the state of Montana.
But for Cord, her ears will be listening for the candidate's stance on graduation matters.
I feel like they have not done a super great job of kind of making it an initiative and making it get started. They've kind of just had to sign papers, so hopefully there's a plan to further that and make it important and make graduation matter.
Organizers say they're hoping our state leaders will recognize the passion in our students, enforcing the message that youth in school care about the education system.
A lot of kids complain that they don't have a say in their school, but they do if you get involved. And that's the biggest part, is you have to be aware, you have to be able to voice your own opinion and not be afraid to do that.
Who you elect, who represents you, can affect how you live your everyday life as a student or as an everyday citizen. I mean, people should get up and get involved and be active in the political system.
Now, organizers hope this forum enlightens the public and the voters on some of the issues they face daily before they head to the ballot. Now, the students will only be asking questions to our regional legislators as well as the OPI candidates, but they say after the forum, they plan to ask the candidates their own questions. Live in Great Falls, Jen Fenter for Montana's news station.
All right, thanks, Jen. And once again, that forum takes place at Great Falls College-MSU. Well, over the next 3 weeks, we will be getting you ready for the upcoming election by introducing you to the candidates for State House, State Senate, County Commission, Justice of the Peace, and District Court. Our campaign profiles begin with the House District 19 race between Roger Hagan and Richard Liebert. Both men have military experience and believe the state does an excellent job of supporting our National Guard. They also believe we have to make the most of our opportunities at Malmstrom Air Force Base.
I'm always advocating for more missions. We need a plan B for Malmstrom. Maybe we got to move the Air Guard to Malmstrom. We got to think of new ways to preserve those missions, and maybe an F-35 mission. And I'm very well familiar with the military. I still do military work, so I'm in touch with all the issues.
We have some of the best training airspace in the nation. And I think it's a gem for us. I think it's a gem for the American people, and I think that we should try to enhance our defense posture by opening those runways and by getting Malmstrom back on track for flying mission.
Now, we'll be posting the responses to other questions on our website. As the election nears, you can go to KRTV.com to learn more about the candidates. Well, there's just about a month to go until Election Day, but another big day is tomorrow. That's when absentee ballots hit the mail. You can still register to vote by absentee simply by stopping by the county election office. You can fill out the necessary paperwork and pick up an absentee ballot at the same time. You have until noon the day before the election date as an absentee voter to return that. Regular voter registration ends tomorrow at 5 p.m., but you can use late registration at the county election office beginning on Wednesday until polls close on November 6th. The Montana Secretary of State offers voter resources on ballot issues for the 2012 general election in the form of a voter information pamphlet. They also have an app called My Voter Page that helps you determine if you're registered to vote and where, as well as directions to the polls. And you can find links to those resources on KRTV.com. The Great Falls Development Authority took home several awards from the International Development Council's annual conference last week. The organization won the gold prize in 4 of 5 categories it was nominated for, and silver in the 5th. Among the areas of recognition, GFDA was awarded for their efforts in celebrating women, business owners, and for work on the West Bank 1 project. But the Development Authority says they were most excited for their award for the multi-year economic development. It's given to the organization that shows the most effective growth for producing development in a 3 to 5 year period.
We've laid the foundation. We have a lot more work to do. We're not going to rest on our laurels at all. The team was like, well, what awards didn't we win that we can get next year? But we are headed in the right direction.
Donnie says the recognition Great Falls got during the conference will help with networking and putting the city on a map as a good place to do business. I know you've been studying a lot of weather maps lately.
I have.
A lot of rain. Finally, welcome sight for us.
Much welcome. I know it's not the best weather to get for those outdoor plans, but we desperately still need that moisture. We're still 3 inches behind for the year, so we'll take what we can get.
Absolutely.
It's going to continue through the evening, then overnight that will start to end, but it's going to be chilly overnight. 33 Great Falls, 34 in Helena, and some of that rain that lingers after midnight can start to mix with a little bit of snow. I'll have a complete look at your forecast and talk about some warmer days ahead coming up after the break.